San Antonio Spurs have a secret weapon, and it is terrifying for the rest of the NBA as we look towards the future. As not only do the San Antonio Spurs have multiple other teams' draft picks, they also have a stash of players that are going to be in incredible high demand. And as this team is shifting into this next generation of dominance in the NBA, this one weapon that they have will change everything. We got to dive into all of the San Antonio Spurs assets and what puts them ahead of so many other teams. But it's not just that. The official schedule has been released. We got a lot of quirks to talk about on that front. Also some stats about the Spurs three-point shooting and another little update on David Jones Garcia. We want to get your guys' input on all that coming up on this live episode of Spurs Digest. Keenan, loving these weekly live streams here. We got a couple people in chat. The real Juan Shepard Smith. Let's go. How excited are you, Keenan? The schedule's out. The Spurs are looking better than ever for the future. I am just pumped to get into all this today.
Oh, I am as well. We are going to have a great start to the season. We're going to get more on that in just here a few minutes. But thank you to everybody who is already in the chat. We appreciate all of you guys for sure. And it's nice to get back-to-back live weeks. We're going to continue to get this going. So I'm excited about it.
Mark it down on your calendar. Set that weekly reminder. I know you can do it. I can do it in the calendar every single Thursday. We're going to try our best to get one to you at 6:30 p.m. Central, 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Thank you for being here. Keenan, let's just start with David Jones Garcia. Now, he's a guy that I talked about in my video just yesterday, and I wanted to hear some of the chat's thoughts on this because David Jones Garcia, of course, was such a big addition after Summer League. I mean, even in Summer League, like, let's be honest, he was all Summer League first team, 21.6 points per game, 53% from the field, 6 boards, 4 assists. I mean, he did everything right. He earned that spot in Summer League. He earned that first team spot, but now we got a tweet, and it has been confirmed. This is in Spanish. I'll just read it in English, but David Jones is just waiting on the status of his visa to change so he can go to Puerto Rico for the AmeriCup, but the positive is that the Spurs have given him the okay, and we talked about this yesterday, Keenan, but David Jones Garcia getting another chance to showcase himself, a guy who I believe is on a two-way deal, yeah, a guy that's going to get a lot of chance, maybe in Austin this year, but a chance to break in with the Spurs as well. We saw what that Summer League meant for him to be able to showcase his talents. What do you think it means to be able to see him at the AmeriCup playing for the Dominican Republic, a team that, you know, they've had some great players over the years, guys like Cat, Al Horford, and many others, but to see him be this guy coming off the Summer League performance, he's going to have a heavy focus on him, and I think he can just elevate his status again heading into this season.
I absolutely think he can do that coming into this season. Last year, throughout the couple games that he played going in, I was on like the February 21st, 24th, 13 points and then 6 points in the second game to his whole like group play kind of stage there. But during the Summer League, we really saw even more of an ascension from him. We saw him be a veteran amongst a lot of rookies and a lot of youth out there on the floor. And I think he's going to be able to bring that within the AmeriCup. The one thing I did notice during his tenure there towards the in February, he was playing one of the highest minute totals. So I think that if he has that confidence of coming in there, being able to play more with more confidence, with more talents, he can really show Austin, San Antonio, and honestly the world what he can do with the basketball in his hands. And maybe he can showcase what he can do forward going into the NBA, hopefully at the highest levels for him. So
yeah, I'm excited. And again, like you said, the minute totals is a very good thing to bring up because David Jones Garcia, like, he's going to get a lot of minutes again this time for Dominican Republic. And again, after watching what he did in Summer League, it's hard not to put the ball in his hands a lot, right? And you do have to wonder, like I was thinking earlier, this guy gets a shot in Summer League. And we knew he was great in the G League last year, but he knew this was his stage to really jump to that NBA deal. And he did it. He took it. Now with the AmeriCup, this is his chance to fight for a spot on the San Antonio Spurs. I mean, look, I have him there in the depth chart. I don't know if he's going to get many minutes. Again, we have like Lindy Waters and there's some other guys, but like, Keenan, I don't think it's a stretch to say that if David Jones Garcia puts on another great performance in the AmeriCup, he's shooting right to the top of, you know, if he goes to Austin, right to the top of their depth chart right away, and right on the top of that list for guys that could come in for the Spurs if they ever have an injury, maybe even if not, they need some shot creation. I think this guy, this is just another chance for him to elevate his status already with the Spurs organization.
100%, because what he is showing is a veteran calmness, and that is the type of players that you want to have in those situations
Yeah.
in mid-January, in early February, when the season's a slog. People are taking maybe a rest game here, rest game there, whatnot. You want guys who can come in and still produce at a high level, because regardless of who's playing out there on the floor, the goal is obviously to win the games.
Mhm.
You have players like Carter Bryant who you're there like, let's go take shots on these guys, let these athletes be them. You also want those veteran players who have been there and they know how to deal with adversity as, okay, these minutes are 8 minutes that might actually showcase what I can do here for the next few weeks, months, years. So he's not going to be afraid of that kind of moment. And I think that this could just be another opportunity for him to propel himself up higher.
Yeah, I think it's a good point. I want to head back to the chat right now. We got a bunch of people in here. We got Noah Bra Royale, hi from Germany. Guten Tag, Noah. Good to see you here. Yeah, we got people from all over the world. GSG from Marshall Murray, GSG from Mixan Vlogs, Shepard Smith coming in again, DJG gonna ball and jump Champagne for real. Keenan, do you think there's any world where that could happen? Now, that's an interesting take. I like that take because I'm really high on David Jones Garcia at the moment. My only issue is that the only world I see him jumping Julian Champagny in the depth chart, Keenan, is if Jones Garcia proves to be a more consistent three-point shooter, because I think Jones Garcia showed a lot of great on-ball scoring in the Summer League. He showed some playmaking. It was interesting, too, because, like, he's not really a point guard, but he kind of played that de facto role when Dylan Harper wasn't in the lineup, which I thought was weird, because he's more of a 2/3. He works best with the ball in his hands, which I think is not something that works super great with the rest of the Spurs backcourt. So unless he really develops his off-ball game, I don't really see him jumping Champagny, but, like, I don't know, man. Like, it's maybe not completely out of the question. I just personally think Champagny's too good of a shooter to almost let that happen. Is that crazy to say?
No, it's not, because when you get to the 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th man on the bench, you really are in there to play a role rather than be an all-around kind of player.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, you want Castle to be a guy who can do a little bit of everything because he's so talented in a lot of aspects. You want him to grow even more, and you can take, okay, he's not really a great three-point shooter, but we can give him leeway because he can do X, Y, and Z on the court.
Yeah.
But with Jones Garcia, the thing that Champagny is he is a shooter who is consistent. He needs to be even more consistent. He has that ability. If Garcia becomes like a 40% three-point shooter, and we're going to talk about the Spurs three-point shooting maybe here a little bit,
Yeah.
and that would be interesting because he can add a more off the bounce. He adds more in the rebounding game as well than Champagny. So if he can actually add that as a shooter, then yes. But if he can't do that, if he can't get to 38+% from three, I don't see how he's going to jump Champagny, just because Champagny, that's what he does, and that's what we need.
Yeah, I completely agree. And again, I think that getting into the three-point shooting is going to be very interesting. But yeah, I don't see Jones Garcia quite doing that, but never say never, right? Because this dude took a big jump, so I'm super excited to see what he has. We're heading back to the chat. People are chatting like crazy. 60 of you in here. Thank you for being here. We got Hector Jimenez. Buenas noches from Puerto Rico. Buenas noches, Hector Jimenez. Espero que todo va bien contigo y tu familia. Bienvenido aquí a Spurs Digest. We speak Spanish, we speak French, we speak English. Do you speak anything else, Keenan? Sorry we don't speak German, Noah, but yeah, we're multilingual here.
Ein bisschen Deutsch.
Ein bisschen Deutsch. Perfect. Look, we multilingual Spurs Digest. Oh, unbelievable. Joseph saying, go Spurs, go howdy from San Antonio, Texas. The real Juan. Shepard saying, y'all hit the like button for the boys. Come on. Oh, I mean, so nice of you, Shepard. Yeah, hit that like button. It's just one click. It actually helps us out a ton. I know you hear YouTubers say it all the time, but like just clicking that like button pushes this to other Spurs fans. And hey, if you want to chat with other Spurs fans, that's the easiest way to push our stream to other people. Share it with your friends and family. Unbelievable stuff here. We got some great interaction. And Keenan, I think it's time to get into the three-point shooting because it's a very interesting topic. It's a bit of a divisive topic for San Antonio Spurs fans, and it's something that I spoke about in a recent video, and I know we've had a lot of chats about this, me and you and Brian, and pretty much any fan who follows the San Antonio Spurs, our chat, our comments. The Spurs, when it comes to three-point shooting, look, I don't think it's a stretch, Keenan, to say that this is the most talked about issue with this team. Is it? That's about right. Yeah, would you agree?
That and the size, and we addressed the size, so now it's the most talked about issue.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we brought in Cornette, we brought in Olynyk. Hey, listen, we got our big boys now, but it's the shooting, right? Yeah. Especially after De'Aaron Fox and his pinky, and he doesn't have a great history of it. Castle, he's not so great. There's a lot of question marks, and when we go back to last season, right, the San Antonio Spurs were 8th in terms of teams, in terms of percentage of their shots that were threes. Among all the teams in the league, the Spurs shot the 8th most threes in terms of all their field goal attempts, right? 44% of all the Spurs field goal attempts were threes. Celtics, still insane that they were that far ahead of second place Golden State by anyway, that's just nuts. 6.5%. Crazy. Yeah, ridiculous. But we know Mitch Johnson, we talked about it a lot. He likes to run this pace and space. Like, the shooting is something that's going to naturally come from this era of offense that is coming from San Antonio. So when we look at the roster and we look at the fact that this team's going to play fast, we're going to have a lot of open threes, whether in transition or even in the half court, just simply because of the gravity of guys like De'Aaron Fox, of course, but Stephon Castle's getting to the rim like crazy. You're going to have to throw multiple guys at him. And of course, Victor Wembanyama drawing in the defense. We're going to have to kick it out a lot. We're going to have to improve on being the 20th most efficient team from three. Only 35.7% last year, despite shooting the 8th most threes in terms of all our shots. So, but when we talk about that, Keenan, I got a couple of things I want to say, and I know you have some things you want to say. I genuinely think that a lot of the guys who had bad shooting seasons from three this year are going to bounce back, because these guys are not guys that have historically been bad from three. There's a couple of other guys. I just want to talk quickly because I know I'm talking a lot right now. A guy like Keldon Johnson, I think 32% is going to go higher, right? A guy like Devin Vassell, he was above league average last year, but this dude through his career has been one of the best three-point shooters from the corner in the entire NBA. Fully healthy Vassell could very well get there. Wembanyama, not bounce back, but every single year his three-point percentage is increasing. Castle, fine. De'Aaron Fox, he has a season shooting like 37-38% from three on 8 attempts a game. So when I analyze this, Keenan, I can't help but think that this is genuinely something people are really sleeping on with San Antonio. How are you feeling about this?
I feel the same way. You had Keldon Johnson last year, who shot about 31.8% from three. The year before, he shot close to 35% from three. Devin Vassell, the 2 years prior, shot over 38% from three. Wemby's only becoming a better shooter. He is growing. De'Aaron Fox has had this issue with his pinky, on his shooting hand, for multiple years. We saw it initially in the Western Conference first round against Golden State, and from that point on, it has not been addressed until this latter half of the season last year. So there are multiple people in this setting who have not showcased their best three-point shooting when they absolutely can. And we have talked about how the three-point percentage, we were 44% of our shots were threes, which was 8th in the league. Amongst 9 teams that shot 39% or shot 39 attempts or more from three, we ranked 6th. The 3 teams that shot worse from three were the Wizards, the Nets, and the Jazz.
Not real teams.
All lottery teams, all teams that we saw in draft night, like, oh, don't take our guy, please, because we want him to fall. And then the teams that shot better: Boston, Golden State, Cleveland, Minnesota, and Chicago. Chicago is the only play-in team. The rest of those teams are playoff teams. All we need to do is get to about 37%. We're at 35.7. 37% puts us top 9 in the league. And if we're going to take that high of volume, literally just one per every like 8 more threes we need to make. That's really it. We're not asking for a lot. We don't need to get to 40% or anything. Just the corner threes, when Dylan Harper's getting downhill, when De'Aaron Fox is getting downhill, when Stephon Castle's getting downhill, when Wemby draws a double team. All of these players, we just need Champagnie to hit 38% of his threes. We need Keldon Johnson to come in, hit 35%. Vassell, stay at that 38% that we know you can do. We're not asking for people to be over 40. We're just asking for you to do what you can do. And when we do that, we have the ability, and what that doesn't lead is to long run-outs. That's where you get beat in transition. There's so many times the Spurs got beat in transition. I specifically remember last year, Memphis just dog-walked us with role players last year because we just couldn't beat them in transition. And a lot of that does to long rebounds because of bad three-point shooting.
Yeah, and I think the transition game this year, offensively and defensively, will be a main focus. I mean, it's the style of play that we wanna play like, and we want to play fast. And so learning how to deal with that. Gosh, isn't this just the time? Like, you want good transition defense, you want three-point shooting. Where is Danny Green? What is he doing at this point, right? He fits that bill exactly. But no, exactly. Like, all you need, I think that's a great point, is just marginal increases from a lot of these guys. And I think that based on what we're seeing, the analytics, not even just analytics, just the trends for a lot of these players in the past, when they've been in better situations, when they've been on a team that, well, maybe not even necessarily better situations. These Spurs teams that were not so great, we still had Vassell and Keldon Johnson shooting better from three. Wemby's improving. Fox, when he shot his most threes, was his best season before his pinky started to give out. And this past season, with the Spurs, it was not a good three-point split. And I mean, overall, it wasn't an amazing three-point split either at 31%. But again, reminder, like, I said this in the video, this guy has a season shooting like 8 threes a game, at like 2% above league average. Like he is able to have a great 3-point shooting year. Can you rely on that? Not necessarily, but like even if just Fox goes from 31% last year up to back to like 35 or 36, which is a bit more in line with what the rest of his career is, that alone makes such a difference. If he is shooting 5 threes a game, I don't even know. I can't do that math really quick, but that's an extra make every now and then, every few games, right? Like it just makes a huge difference down the line. So I want to hear what the chat has to say about this, because I think the 3-point shooting, the fact that it's treated as like almost like, man, this is really the biggest problem, I would agree. But also, I don't think it's as bad as people make it out to be, especially some analysts looking at the Spurs and saying, oh, well, if they don't have shooting, look, yeah, I would still love a Danny Greenback or what, Dougie McBuckets, you know, these kind of guys, Patty Mills, Marco Bellinelli, whoever, guys that are staples of the Spurs past to come in and be 3-point snipers, Keenan. But like, I think at the end of the day, after looking at all this, like even a guy like Sochan, I see his name there in chat, he's going to improve from 3. We probably have a video coming out on Sochan tomorrow. It's very interesting, but like, at the end of the day, I'm starting to feel like it's just not as bad as people make it out to be, and I think that's an incredible thing for us to be able to say.
Yes, and we do have legitimate shooters now. We have a couple of like Harrison Barnes is a legitimate shooter. Like he's a great corner shooter, shoots over 40% from 3. Like he can legitimately shoot. And then Kelly Olynyk is another guy who can come in and shoot over 40% from 3. As you see there, he shot almost 42% last season. Those are 2 guys that can come in and be legitimate 3-point shooters. And then with Wemby, I would like him just to now, because we're out of the trial stage for me. Like for Wemby, like last year and a couple years before, we were in like the, let's see how we can extend our range. Let's see how many threes we can take. Like he was taking a bunch of threes. I would like him to take 4 to 5 and make them smart threes, because that percentage legitimately can be 37, 38. There was a lot of threes last year where you're like 18 seconds left on the shot clock.
Dude, he shot 9 of them a game.
You know, that was more than Steph in his his first MVP season. And it's like, wait a second, what? But you mean that 67-15 Warriors Steph, the one that really took the league by the storm? That Steph, he shot more threes than that guy. Yeah. So like, you're like, okay, Wemby, just tone that down to 5, tone that down. I'm even fine 5, 6 off pick and pops, and then if you get hot, sure, take them. But just smart threes. I honestly think 44% is a little high for us for 3. I would love 41% from like 41% of our shots being threes, to be quite honest with you. I like it a little bit lower for me personally, just because if we're more efficient with the threes that we make, I think that would be even better than taking a lot and trying to make up for the fact that we're not as good a 3-point shooter as say Boston is. But that's an insane number still. Yeah. Golly.
Yeah, it's crazy.
The Warriors who shoot threes like they're created the small ball, they're blowing them out of the water. That's insane.
It's insane. I can't. I'm excited to see, but I think your point on the trial run with Wemby is like it is kind of over, because like how many threes do you think he's going to shoot a game this year? Like, is he going to touch? I feel like with Fox there, he's going to see a downtick, but also at the same time, like. I don't know why I get this like this not sinking feeling, because I trust Wemby more than like I trust many people in my life, but at the same time, like, is it crazy to think that he might try and go for like 9 or 10 threes a game? I might make a poll for this, Keenan, because like I wonder, right? Like it is a trial period, but he jacked up his attempts this year, and you know what also went up? His percentage. And despite taking these insane step back double team threes, like his shot quality was bad. I remember at one point in the year, like the threes that he was taking, like he took some of the most contested looks in the league, and he was still shooting a reasonable percentage on an insanely high volume. So if that trend can continue, which who knows if it will, I just wonder, like, I mean, this guy, if he can, this guy's just going to be the GOAT in like 2 years. But like, is it crazy to say he might take even more? I think it was 8.8 last year, right? Is it crazy to say he could take over 9 threes a game this year?
I think it is kind of crazy, but like, I mean, your guys who took over 9 threes, Steph, Ant, Jason Tatum, like those are your guys taking. Donovan Mitchell was taking 9, Tyler Hero was taking 9, Dame was taking 9. Yeah. So like to think that you have all of those wings who are perimeter guys and then just Wemby, it's like just because he is like 7'4" to 7'7", we don't really like his definitive height always changes to me. sometimes you'll see like, oh, he's 7'4", then you're like, wait, is he 7'7"? Like,
Yeah.
is he still growing? So like, I would love for him to operate from like 21 and in, and I'm hopeful that KG can get that out of him a little bit. That's just a personal thing. I
Oh,
hope he does 9-3 game. I really hope he doesn't. But like, I'm with you where I could just see in the beginning of the season, especially if he starts off hot, like I'm just gonna let it go. I'm just
like
gonna let it go.
what you know what's crazy too? Like 86% of his threes were assisted this past year. Doesn't it feel like way fewer of them were assisted? Like
Oh,
felt
absolutely.
like the dude was just I mean, I don't even know what to expect this year. KG stuff is a good point too. Like I am so excited to see I don't know, this different version of Wemby, this like locked in defensive version of Wemby, which if the previous versions of Wemby weren't already locked in, I don't even know. We got a poll going up now. Do you think Wemby will take fewer than 7, between 7 and 8, between 8 and 9, or more than 9 threes a game this year? Let us know, because again, he shot almost 9 a game last year, but could be very different. I just want to say, I feel like I've said it since he came into the league. I want to see him shoot more in the post, so I'm just waiting to see that. I think you agree with me. I think a lot of the chat agrees, but yeah. Anyway, regardless, very interesting stuff from Wemby. But I want to take a moment to go back to the chat because it's been a minute here, Keenan. We're gonna go back through, and there's a lot of people chatting. We're gonna try to get to a lot of them. If you guys decide to become a channel member or you are kind enough to leave a super chat, we will get to those first. But otherwise, we're gonna try to get to some messages. But we had a lot to get into, so unfortunately, we won't be able to read them all. But we're looking at them all, so we won't be able to read them all out loud. But we're reading them all. Thank you for leaving the chats. We love the conversations here. How about Fox, Castle, Barnes, Wemby, Cornet starting? I think that's an interesting thing that can pair off this Wemby thing, Keenan. Just quickly, what do you think about starting Wemby and Cornet and just taking Vassell straight up off the bench? Like, your bench unit is pretty darn good if you're starting Barnes and Wemby and Cornet all together, because then you have Vassell, Harper, and Sochan off the bench.
Yes, I like it. I'd only do it in certain games.
Yeah.
Like I think that I think you can throw that starting lineup out against bigger teams and you're going to be perfectly fine. And I don't think that with this team, with how young we are, I think we're going to see a lot of different starting lineups throughout the year. Like we're going to play around. Let's see what Harper looks like in the starting 5. Okay, maybe we start Sochan, or then maybe we start Barnes. Maybe we go Olynyk and Wemby. Like maybe we want to add shooting. Like we could even go like a Barnes, Olynyk, Wemby front court if we really want to add shooting. Like so, like there's a lot of different things. I think the Luke Cornet Wemby thing, we're gonna have to see it early on in the season, probably off the bench to see. But I think if it gets to a point that we could actually start that against certain teams, maybe if we're seeing Jokic to not have Wemby in foul trouble early, you can just say, hey, Luke Cornet, you got 6. Do your best.
Yeah.
Like give them just give tough time. Do your best. You got 6. We got Olynyk. Hey, you got 6.
Yeah.
Like you 6 fouls. You guys have fun.
That's actually interesting. I mean, like, I don't mind that idea at all. Like, just throwing these guys out situation based. And again, we talked about this last stream, Keenan. For those of you that were here last week, one of the big themes was versatility. Like the fact that this team can run so many different lineups with so many different ideas, and the fact that we have so many people coming in with so many different starting lineups or their favorite lineups is just a testament to how this team is built already in like the early stages still of this rebuild. Feels like we've had Wemby for 5 years. He's drafted in 2023, reminder, right? Like not that long ago. We got some interesting comments, or some people losing faith in Devin Vassell, some people losing faith in Jeremy Sochan. We're gonna get to some of these guys a little bit later when we talk about how the Spurs have incredible assets moving forward, but we'll leave that for now. Though this one here from Shepard Smith: do we stick with Devin if his 3-point percentage doesn't have a massive uptick? Feels like the Spurs nation as a whole is over with his development. I want to answer this, Keenan, again just briefly by bringing up his 3-point percentage. He shot 37% from 3 last year. Yeah, his field goal percentage wasn't amazing, but this includes some really bad games, especially the first few back from that foot injury, the foot surgery. This dude, on his career, is a very solid shooter. This year, 37% from 3 is not amazing, still above league average. All I'm asking is for him to get to 37 or 38% from 3. Like, if you're 37.3% from 3, people will look at it very differently than 36.8 in my eyes, right? I don't need a massive uptick. It depends what we're defining as a massive uptick for me. And it's a fantastic question. I definitely understand where people are coming from. And I do think Vassell, I think, Keenan, you agree too, this guy's probably the most likely of a lot of our core to be traded. But if he's up there at like 37.5%, like a 0.7% uptick, to me, that's more than fine, especially with the way the Spurs plan to operate this year. I don't need to see a massive uptick, but that doesn't mean he won't be on the trade block, even if he does have it.
Yeah, the thing with Vassell that I'm going to be really interested to see, and I think this would be directly affected by what you see from him, is how he can mold with all of the other players.
Mhm.
Obviously, a couple years back when he was really like the one or the 1A, 1B kind of thing, you really saw the best of Vassell. And last year from March on, so March 1st on, he averaged 18 points a game, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, shot 47% from the floor and 41% from three.
Mhm.
So like over from March on, and that was 22 games. He was shooting 41% from three to end the season.
Yeah.
But that also you have to think there was no Fox there really. There was no Wemby. So it was really like he was the best offensive scorer because Castle's still coming into his own and Chris Paul is obviously 38, 39, 40 years old, like getting up there in age. So it's going to be interesting to see, can he really work within the confinements of being a third or fourth option, or is he a guy that has to be a one or two? If he has to be a one or two option, then we should move off of him. If he can really be a 3 or 4 and give you that kind of, maybe not 41%, but that 38,
Yeah.
39% that he's capable of, then I think we keep him. So the first 20 games of the season is really going to matter for what we see from him, because I just think it's how he integrates with the other great players.
100%. And look, I'm looking forward to see, just get him back to that like 47% from the corner three. Oh man, like the dude, I think he has seasons where he shot 50% from the corner, unless I'm mistaken. Like I'm pretty sure he was like, or maybe high 40s. Like he was really good from it. I keep saying that, but like dude is awesome. So very, very interesting. And
Yeah.
we're gonna end the poll right now on the Wemby 3-point attempts per game. And I'm unfortunately gonna have to skip a lot of chats, though we do see Angeline Pasquale, who was a super fan in the last stream. Thank you for being here, Angeline. We got Martian as well. We got a lot of people, Shepard Smith, fighting for that #1 chatter spot today. Thank you all for the unbelievable chats here. We got Silos 2210 rips, bro. I got this itch for Spurs basketball. Hey, we can only scratch it, coming very soon. You're
I'm ready.
Yeah, well,
I'm ready.
if you see a scratch in our arms, totally, it's just an itch for Spurs basketball. Why else
Yes,
would we
it
be?
is.
So
Yes, it
the overall poll
is.
results, yeah, but it's just basketball. That's my drug. The poll results, 34% of people. So these polls never add up to 100%. For those of you who've been around, you just know that. I don't know why YouTube it drives me crazy, but 34% of people, the same number of people, said Wemby will take fewer than 7, and also between 7 and 8 threes a game. So a lot of people are saying he's going to take fewer threes a game this year. Only 4% of people said he's actually going to increase his 3-point volume, Keenan. I think that's very fair. I'm just saying, look, I think, like you said earlier, a lot is going to be told in the first few, not first few games, but first few weeks and first few months of this season, because we're going to see a lot of trends with who's shooting well, who's not shooting well. And again, that can change throughout the season, of course, but like if in a 20-25 game sample, you're not shooting well when you're getting a lot of open looks off of Fox and Wemby passes, hey, you might be on the chopping block, right? But at the same time, we're going to see trends with how Wemby's going to play his game, how he's going to adapt with Fox, how Fox is looking, how Vassell's shooting is looking, all this kind of stuff, Keenan. So I think it's going to be likely that we're going to get fewer threes a game, but yeah, I don't know. I think that's very apt from our fans. I think they're maybe less high on Wemby taking this insane quantum leap than me, and that's pretty fair.
Absolutely. Shout out to Shepard Smith,
Yeah.
though. Out to Shepard Smith. We appreciate you. We appreciate the love and support from you guys, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we used to have we got to get a super chat animation if we don't. I think it's somewhere. I don't have it, but Shepard Smith with the $1.99 donation. Really appreciate you, every single one of you guys in this chat right now. Thank you. Just saying, appreciate the content. Catch y'all next time. Thank you so much for stopping by, Shepard. Real one, being here all the time. Leave some likes on Shepard's comment over there, everyone. Come on, leave them some love. They sent the super chat, so generous. So thank you all just for showing up. We don't expect any donations. Just unbelievable that you guys are showing up to watch us every single day. It's amazing. And we got Angeline Pasquale saying, I hope Wemby will shoot for 40% from 3 this season on 7 to 8 threes a game. Keenan, if he does that, I think he will win MVP, and I think we will have home court in the playoffs.
If he's 40% from 3 and if he's 3 out of every 8 threes, or 3 out of every 7 threes he's taking, yeah, we're gonna be a 50-win team.
Oh
I
gosh.
promise you that, because that 24-11 is gonna be 28-12 with still 4 blocks. So like,
Oh my gosh.
we're winning MVP. He's winning MVP. So we're winning MVP. That guy right there. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So that guy right there. Hold on. I just gotta show the fans. Yeah, there it is. That guy right there.
That guy right there.
That guy right there. Okay, I had to
MVP.
show him. Had to show him. So
Appreciate it.
let's do some quick math here because I like that from Angelina, and now it's got me extra hyped up. So let's do some math here on my phone. So if we do, let's split it down the middle. Let's say 7.5 3-point attempts per game, and we say he makes 40%. That's exactly three. So three threes
Yep.
made per game. That's 9 points per game just off of threes. That would be absolutely ridiculous, and I can't even fathom. I can't even. Well, what did he shoot this year? So what was he? 35% on 8.8 attempts a game. So actually, that's actually the same amount of points from three though. But if he's that efficient, I wonder what he's going to be doing on the inside to make up for. Oh, anyway, I'm unbelievably hyped for that. But anyway, got to move off of Wemby for a minute. But this is the thing. Nothing is impossible. Real Juan saying, Josh and Keenan, what matchups y'all looking forward to? Matchups in terms of our schedule? Well, we might just be getting into that in a second. If not, clarify for us. What do you mean by matchups? We're about to get into the schedule. And Robski's Tats says, what do y'all think will happen to Keldon? You know what? I think we're better off saving that Keldon stuff for a little bit later, Keenan, when we talk a bit about how the Spurs have this war chest of assets, because that's the big theme of today. What do you say we hop into the schedule? Because I know you got a few thoughts on that.
Yeah, let's absolutely. Let's talk about the schedule. I'm
it.
excited.
Let's do it. So the official schedule dropped today. Now, look, it's hard to get pictures of everything in the schedule, but we'll do our best here. And I'm gonna drag in, we're just gonna go over to here, and we're gonna keep Wemby stats up. Why not? While we show a couple things. Keenan, I know you had some specific thoughts. Actually, I'm gonna show some things that I got from the article that's linked down below from Express News. They highlighted a few interesting games. For example, the season opener. Now, this one we already knew before the schedule dropped. Same thing with the next one I'll show, but October 22nd at Dallas. We don't open at home till a few days later, but Harper versus Flag, unbelievable stuff. I mean, Flag's probably going to be starting, Harper off the bench, but regardless, Harper's going to play better and the Spurs are going to win, so it's not going to matter. Very interesting day. Christmas Day, again, OKC. This is going to be crazy versus the fact that we're getting a game against the champs on Christmas Day tells us, how the NBA views Wemby. I absolutely love that. And then I like this, Keenan. The Austin games are coming back. During that rodeo road trip, a couple games close to home, the University of Texas just up the road in Austin. Like last year, this year's visit to the Moody Center stands to break up what otherwise would be a longer rodeo trip. That to me is such a huge thing in recent times that we actually get to stay at home in Texas during that road trip. This is maybe my favorite aspect, again, of the schedule. I know we did it before, but to me, this, especially at that point in the year, when you're like getting into February, it's like trade deadline season, and there's all this crazy stuff going around, All-Star break, and we're in the middle of the rodeo road trip. Every year, it's a tough part. But to be able to come home to Texas again, to know that we're doing this again, got me really excited.
Yeah, 100%. It's going to be fun. And obviously, we know that Texas is Texas football, Texas Austin is just such a huge program there, and what they do there is just huge. So having it there, it's going to obviously just feel exactly like you're in San Antonio because of the fans will be coming out in droves. It's going to be fun. It's going to be exciting there. So it's great to have that split up the rodeo road trip for sure.
100%. But I know you're focused on a few different things here, Keenan, because look, you did a bit more of a deep dive than I did, and we can't show you the full schedule because you won't be able to see it. It's going to be way too small, but ESPN has it. The NBA website has it. Go check it out for yourself. It's there's some interesting stuff there. Keenan, what is the one stretch of games? I know you got two, but what's the one that maybe stands out to you the most? Like, what's your thing that you're looking most forward towards, maybe scared of? Like, what's the stretch that stood out most to you, I should say?
One that stood out was just our first 11 games right before we get into group play, because like we're in a situation now where like, okay, we are going to start the season off good. We have Dallas. That's going to be a fun game. That's Flag and Harper, but that's also Flag and Wemby a little bit, just because two people are like, oh, these could be two generational first number one overall picks. So like a little bit of that back and forth too, and they're going to be guarding each other on the floor. So that's going to be great. But after that, New Orleans, Brooklyn, Toronto, Miami, Phoenix. That easily could be 5 wins. Obviously, you don't know how the season is going to start, but a younger team that's trying to put pieces together gets an easy start to the schedule as on paper like that. That's great. Then we see the Lakers, Houston. Houston's going to be interesting. Then get into the Pelicans, the Bulls, and the Warriors going right, and that's all before we get into our the Emirates Cup, the first game against the Emirates Cup, which is actually against the Warriors as well. But easily that could be 7-4, 8-3 to start off the season. And starting off the season hot in this Western Conference is going to matter so much. It doesn't fully matter when you're playing around with, oh, maybe we'll make the playoffs. But with this team who has real, not just playoff aspirations, but making sure avoiding the play-in aspirations, getting a top 6 seed, that start could be very beneficial.
Yeah.
And I think that we need to take advantage of that 100%. So I think the start of the season very much is like, oh, we really get to see what's going. We get to get on a good roll, and then we get into some of our tougher opponents.
Yeah, 100%. I think like and the start of the season, I think is going to be not only just important for playoff aspirations in this crazy Western Conference, but for a team that's still so young in a lot of ways, but also so new playing together. These first games are not going to be easy. It takes time to settle in with your new teammates, so there's going to be a lot of challenges. The schedule says, hey, 7-4, 8-3, that's realistic for what our team is built like. But there's a lot of other factors we have to consider here. So, like, I also want to just say temper the expectations. I do expect the Spurs to be a playoff team. But I also think there's a real world where we pick it up, post November into December into January, where we really start to ramp up as a team. The problem is, as we're going to get into in a second, those are the hardest stretches of the season for us. So it's like, it's this really tough mix of like new young team with new teammates. Right at the start of the season is when the schedule's the easiest, so hopefully you can work together on that. If it goes great, awesome. You've beaten up on some teams that are worse than you, ideally, and then you've learned how to play together. But if it doesn't go like that, there are some concerns around Christmas, but very interesting. And I think that answers your question, Juan. For me, my favorite matchups are going to be the ones, I think... my favorite matchup this season, it might just actually be the games against the Hawks, because we kind of control a bit of our own destiny there. But realistically, what I look most forward to in terms of like actual talent versus talent is going to be when we play Milwaukee. I love watching Wemby versus Giannis. I don't care. I know some people don't enjoy watching Giannis play, and it's me neither sometimes. But watching both of those guys on the floor at once, that style of basketball, Keenan, is something that you just can't replicate. Like that is something that you watch that game, you will see things you have never seen before on the court. That's what I'm personally looking most forward to. But before I get to your answer on that, I gotta acknowledge the super chat in from Silos 210 rips, or 210, whatever, 210. I'll say 210. $4.99. Thank you so much, Silos. Maybe Carlos, don't know. Love the content, brothers. I'll be at the Nets game. I am from San Antonio. Shout out to San Antonio. Shout out to you, Silos. Thank you so much for the $4.99. Hey, if you got any other questions, anything else you want to say in the chat, we'll answer that. It's such a generous donation. I see the chat leaving some love. Keenan, I mean, unbelievable that we got fans all over the place. So be at the Nets game from SA. I love the fans coming in here now. People are excited for this season, Keenan. It's that itch. It's that itch.
It really is that itch. And you're right. I mean, when it's the Greek freak versus the alien, you think something out of this world's going to happen.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Like guys are going to take one dribble from half and maybe feel like you're going to dunk from the free throw line, or just some like 2K where things just go insane. You're like, that it really is video game like stuff, because these two guys are not real guys. So yeah, you're right about that. I love those matchups. I'm super excited because I think the Mavericks and Spurs matchups are what I'm looking forward to the most. And it doesn't only have to do with Harper. It really has to do with the Wemby and Flag portion of it. Because Wemby is a guy who he hears everything and he likes to look for chips on his shoulder, and people being like, well, I think Flag is the best prospect since this, or like, there have been some things said about Flag where it's like instant superstar, could be best player in the league kind of thing. And Wemby's looking around like, did I go somewhere? Like anything that's going to be a slight to Wemby, he's going to take it as someone just directly says he's much better than you. And he's like, no, not going to have it. So I'm excited to, especially opening night, for Wemby to put his stamp on like 30-15 with 5 blocks is easily on the board for Wemby game 1. Just to come out in here and say, 1, 100% healthy. Yeah. 2, we're a real team. 3, he's not ever going to be better than me. There won't be a day we walk where Flag is going to be better than me. I'm just excited.
Sorry, I thought I had to capture the Flag animation, and I didn't. This is Flag in a Spurs jersey. I was gonna say this is what he's gonna want to do. He's gonna wish that happened.
Just literally capture the Flag.
I know.
Absolutely.
I wish I still had that, but I don't. But no, unreal stuff. I think that's very fair. And look, Spurs Mavs matchups are always heated. They're always. I mean, maybe not in recent times. It's not as heated as it was, but the fans like to go at each other, right? I mean, any of these inter-Texas matchups, the Southwest Division. I mean, I love You
New
know,
Dirk and Timmy.
yeah, exactly.
That new
Dirk v. Timmy, and I mean the Rockets. Like if you go way back, I mean, it was occasional the Timmy versus Yao games. Ooh, and even I don't want to relive what T-Mac did that one time. It doesn't matter. We came out on top a lot of the time, but some real good stuff there. I like the Southwest Division matchups too. I mean the Pelicans. Hey, maybe Zion will be healthy. Like maybe that'll be something,
Hey,
right? Healthy
I was
Zion.
supposed to be one of them.
Yeah,
He was supposed to be one of them.
I know he was supposed to exactly. He was supposed to be in this conversation with Wemby and Flag, but hey, what happened, Zion? Sorry, I'm not gonna get into that. That's not fair. But yeah, really interesting stuff. But I want to get into the other stuff, Keenan. We're talking about. We'll just flash something up here on the screen. We got some of the other schedule bits, and I want to start with this one. And I'm just gonna move it here because why not? You talked about this. Well, we talked about this earlier, and we brought up the Christmas Day game versus OKC. The thing is, this is a tough stretch of the season. Now, a lot of these are home games, which is good. So we play OKC at home on December 23rd. We go into OKC, national TV, Christmas Day, of course. But then, Utah, whatever. But then we got Cleveland and New York. So we got the champs, and then we got Cleveland and New York all around Christmas and New Year's. There's just 2 days between every single one of these games. It's the holidays. There's all kinds of stuff around this part of the year. And again, as I said, like, this is the time of year where I'm hoping at least that, like, because look, there's no world, well, there is a world, but I think it's unlikely that the Spurs are going to be at their full chemistry right from the get-go, right? I think it is going to take time to learn how to play with each other. We got to see how Harper fits, how Castle is fitting, how Fox and Wemby play together. They're going to learn. They might be great from day one, but they are just going to get better as the season goes on. That's how this will work with new team chemistry. This is when I want the team to really start taking that next step. This is an incredible test for them. And I know the next stretch of games that we're going to talk about is very soon after this, which is why this is the toughest stretch of the season. But this right here, I think, is going to be one of the most entertaining stretches of basketball for the Spurs, because we're playing some high-profile teams, right? Cleveland, unbelievable team. And then New York, again, they keep making these pushes year after year. Iconic team, the New York Knicks, double champs. Like, this is a very fun stretch of games and a very fun time of year.
We had it last year at this time too, because you had to think the Wemby 42-18 special on Christmas was against New York, and then we had the really close game, the overtime game against Denver right afterwards. That really close game against the Timberwolves that we ended up losing. It was one of those stretches where we just couldn't close games. We were playing with these high-end teams, which made us feel, okay, we can actually compete talent-wise, but we just didn't have the veteran either leadership or we just didn't have the play calling or whatever down the stretch to close out these games. And we're going to get into the same stretch around the same time this year. I'm super excited about this stretch too, because at this point, we're going to have 2 months to say, what kind of basketball team are we?
Yeah.
And then we're going to have a month of basketball pretty much. We're going to get into the second stretch here in a moment, a month of basketball to say, how good can we be? Yeah. And after that month, we're going to sit back and we're going to evaluate who is going to work on this team, who will not work on this team. Should we trade anybody, or are we set where we are? And that's the thing that I'm really excited for, because we're getting into a stretch of basketball here, which is extremely interesting.
Yeah, and let's just show it. I mean, you're talking about it. Why not just put it up on screen? Sorry, it's not the prettiest, but it's hard to get so many screenshots ready for a stream. Now, there are games between December 31st and January 6th. There's a couple of games in there, but realistic, maybe
back to back with the Pacers, and then we go to Indiana, and then we're home against Portland.
Crazy.
So that Portland game could be a little bit of a trap game just because we go from Indiana then to home. So those are the games in between the December 31st and the January 6th. It's a back-to-back starting off against the Pacers. So could be a tough 2 game.
Yeah, I mean, the Pacers is such an interesting opponent this year because I don't really know how to judge them. Like, of course, NBA Finals, but without Tyrese Halliburton, I don't really know how to
and
judge
without
them.
Miles Turner.
Well, yeah, that's true. I keep forgetting, bro. Hey, now I get to watch him in my Giannis game, eh? So
which is just like one of those things that, like, those moves go under the radar, and then you're like, wait, Miles Turner's not a Pacer?
Right.
Wait, what happened?
Yeah, I mean, I forgot until you mentioned it. Well, I wasn't really thinking of Miles Turner, but he is a very important part of that team. But no, you're right. Like, you got a couple trap games in there, but then you got this stretch here, Keenan. Like, from December 23rd to January 17th, overall is nuts, right? Memphis on the 6th, and again, Memphis is looking like maybe, like, I know they had the whole Desmond Bane trade. That's still weird to me. I don't even understand what happened there, but they still got some great players. Of course, they still got John Morant, they still got Jaren Jackson, they still got lots of nice young players. And then you got the Lakers. You got Bron and Luka and the Lakers. Then you got the Boston Celtics, who, again, like, it's going to be a different Celtics team this year for sure. No Drew Holiday, Jason Tatum, Kristaps Porzingis. They're probably going to start Peyton Pritchard, whatever. But then you got Minnesota, and then you got the champs OKC again. Then you got that Giannis game that I'm excited about, and then you got Minnesota again. What, like, you know, these easy games, easy at the start of the season, is like tough. Like, you gotta start hot, Keenan. This is exactly why, because look at this insane stretch of games. Now, I do have full faith that the Spurs are going to be able to get through this with some great results, but like, I can't help but feel like, holy crap, schedule makers. Like, I know, I want to say the West is a bloodbath, but there's a couple games against Eastern Conference opponents sprinkled in there too. This is not going to be an easy time of year, from December to January, and then again, we got the rodeo road trip very soon after this. So it's a crazy time of year, and I think this is what might very well just make or break our season, this 1 month of basketball.
I 100% agree. And if you add the 2 games in between there, that's 14 games. If the Spurs are 500 throughout that stretch, I'm happy.
Yeah.
I'm truly happy. If they can get above 500, great. If they're like a game or 2 below, depending on where we are, that's why we have to make work of what we did early if we're really looking to get one of those top 6. Because during this stretch, you also have to think, so that we're at Memphis and then home for LA on a back-to-back. That's incredibly tough. The nationally televised game on Wednesday for sure. And then Boston, sure, they're going to be a lesser team, but that team's going to have the first time they're playing with like really without expectations for the last few years. So they're going to just be like, Jaylen Brown's like, okay, let me go try to get all second, like first team NBA kind of thing. Like, he's going to go out there and be playing. Peyton Pritchard obviously can play. We know what Derek White can do. He's obviously been here for a while. So, and also that's going to be Luke Kornet's return to Boston. Not that Luke Kornet's a superstar, but still interesting. Hey, he's a superstar in his role. That's all that matters.
Yeah, that's right.
100%. But like the back-to-back going from Boston to then Minnesota and then one day in between and then going to Oklahoma City.
Nuts.
Golly. Like, that's tough. And then you're now, okay, we're going to Oklahoma City, one game in between, going home for Giannis. Okay, then we're staying at home, and then we got Anthony Edwards coming into town. It's like, okay, that's a really easy, but like, that's the stretch of basketball, and that's the time that's going to be like, oh, this team can go actually compete in the playoffs this year. This team needs a change, or this team just doesn't have it. Like, that's where we're going to figure out what this team is during that stretch of basketball, and that I'm excited for as well. So that's another thing that I'm very excited for to see on this year.
Yeah, I completely agree, and I want to hear from the people in the chat. What's your favorite stretch of the season? The matchup you're looking forward to, a stretch that scares you. We just showed you a bunch of different things that we could that you could choose. You know, the home opener, any game versus Dallas. I see someone in chat, Fred Villarreal, by the way, from the 2-0 here, and I hate the Mavs and Rockets. Should be a fun first game. We got Christmas Day versus OKC. We got that rodeo road trip, but with a couple stops in Austin, and we have those crazy stretches of games. Leave your thoughts in the chat over there. But Keenan, you know, this has been just such an unreal offseason for San Antonio, right? Because we're preparing for the season now. It's starting to feel real, right? We're getting closer and closer and closer every single day. And I can't wait to see how this roster is going to look this year. But also, the fact that we have so many assets in our war chest is what makes this team even scarier. And I'm really excited to talk about this, because we can look at this schedule. We can look at what our roster looks like now. It says this is not going to be the same team this time next year. We got some expiring deals. We have some extensions we're going to need to sign. There's the future of Sochan. Who knows, right? There's a recent article that's like from John Hollinger, like, oh, I don't know. But whatever. But also, like, Kelly Olynyk, right? He's expiring. Harrison Barnes. There's so many questions. But when it comes to the Spurs right now, this team is looking to take that leap. And again, a lot of that does depend on Wemby and Fox, but mostly Wemby, on how fast we can get there. But there's something the Spurs have that a lot of other teams don't have. It's something the OKC Thunder utilized very well, and that's assets. But before we talk about it, I just want to point out how close we are to 10,000 subscribers. We got 75 people in here. Just double check that you've hit that subscribe button down below. If you're in here, you're enjoying this stuff. We have daily Spurs content. That's not stopping anytime soon. So if you want to stay up to date on all the latest news for the Spurs, we got videos coming out literally every single day on all the latest stuff, even this time of year. So just check the button down below. It's completely free as well. But Keenan, I think I'm ready to talk about this. We saw the thumbnail. We saw those ping pong balls. The Spurs have a war chest right now. And I know it doesn't seem like much on paper, but I want to just explain what I'm getting into here. Where are the pictures here? My biggest thing here. we have swap rights this year in 2026, which is why I want to beat the crap out of Atlanta in games and just try and get their pick higher. They're going to be good this year, but there's controversy around Trae Young. 2027, we have Atlanta's pick outright, right? So if Trae Young does leave, which there's some weird rumors that he's not happy that they haven't offered him an extension yet, that could be a good pick as well. These DeJounte Murray picks still paying off. 2028, we have swap rights with Boston from picks 2 to 30. 2029, hey, we got our own pick. 2030, we have the Dallas Mavericks swap. We have the rights to some great picks there. 2031, we have our own, or we can swap with the Sacramento Kings. From now, from the 2026, 7, 8, 9, 20, 30, and 31, the next 6 drafts, no, we don't have multiple first in any drafts, but Keenan, in every single one, we have the opportunity to get a better pick than where our team is. That, combined with some of the players that have a lot of value that we'll talk about in a second, to me just makes the Spurs one of the scariest teams for the future. Not even necessarily just for rebuilding through the draft or bringing up extra talents who can be great on rookie contracts, which is important for long-term contention, but also for any trades along the way, because you know some are going to happen. We have salary that we can move, and we also have some awesome assets in terms of picks, especially that 2030 Mavs pick, I think.
And with the new, obviously, second apron, new CBA, new NBA, and how salary caps work, this is what has to happen. You have to acquire all these assets, because the realistic nature is between Castle, Wemby, Fox, Harper, like, we're just not going to be able to keep every single one of them. Who's going to go, whatever, or maybe we're able to with how things work out, but most likely we're not going to be able to keep everybody by 2031. Like, you're not going to see all these same guys on the roster. So we're going to have to maneuver things, move off of players to get players. And you can only do that by having assets and movable contracts. And that's what we have now. And that's what we're going to have moving forward, because the Spurs do good business. And right now, it's also a really interesting time to be a San Antonio Spurs fan in the 21st century, because, like, we're in a new position that we've never really been in. Because from 2000 on, from like 2000 to 2016, we were just super good. Like, we were just incredibly good. And then afterwards,
putting it lightly, dude.
No, we were just incredibly good. It was like, hey, we're 50 wins, gonna at least get to the second round of the playoffs and win a championship every 5 years, guys. Sign up for that. How you good? Every 3 years, honestly. But then, but from there, and then you get into a portion of basketball where, like, you're in the rebuilding DeMar DeRozan, Aldridge kind of times, and then you get to like, shout out Aldridge.
You guys thought it was Bowen. It's not.
It's not Bowen. Shout out to the boy Aldridge. But then you go down, and then right now is like one of the first times the Spurs have been in a position with super young talent, high aspirations and wins, plus a bunch of assets. And it's going to be really interesting to see what's going moving forward. So I'm really excited about it. And you are correct. We just have so much we can do. And that's why we have so much to talk about, and why you're just thinking every day is like, what's going to happen? It's like a really good saga. Like, what's going to happen in Stranger Things? Like those kind of, what's going to happen? Like, we just need to know. A lot of teams are set. We're not.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, that's the thing, right? And again, OKC was a very special case because Sam Presti, I mean, he was memed on for years, but he knew what he was doing, right? He made some very smart trades that maybe paid off better than even he could have anticipated. That Shea trade, I mean, it's still, like, crazy looking back. I mean, I thought it was a bit of an overpay at the time, but no one would have thought that it was Shea who would end up being, like he is it crazy to say he already has a better career than Paul George? Is that nuts to say?
No, he has an MVP and a championship. I mean,
what else
the best thing they got was a Western Conference Finals without Kawhi playing. It's the best thing that they got. They also, and then they got waxed 3-1 to Denver, and Denver just came back and bubbled them out of there. Like, that was the most they got.
Was that the Terrence Mann year where he just like went off for like 40 something points in one of the games?
I believe so. I
mean,
that was just during that was the bubble, and then they ended up losing to the Lakers. The Lakers won it all against the Heat in that bubble. So, like, that was such an interesting time. Shout out COVID for that. Thank you for that. Love
COVID that. For giving us good basketball.
Shout out COVID for ruining a lot of stuff, man. We appreciate COVID.
Thanks, COVID. Appreciate it, bros. I mean,
appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for. I mean, hey, look, I wasn't watching much of Spurs basketball. Was interesting in that time for sure. But hey, you know what? That whole ending to all of that got us Wemby, so who can complain? But no, absolutely. And like looking towards the future again, like I feel like I can't overstate how important it is to have these picks that we do, because again, this team is not yet a 50-win team. I think it's a different story when you look at this team hypothetically and what this team looks like it can do versus what it actually does on the court, right? So these picks that I'm showing, these swap rights, all this stuff, it really only matters once we see how this team does. Because I don't think Atlanta's going to be bad. They have good young talent. They have Jalen Johnson coming back this year. They have Zachary Ricochet, who was a number 1 overall pick, and I think is going to be a great player in this league. Superstar? Maybe not. Who knows? Trae Young is fantastic. As much as it's easy to hate on him for his defense and for other aspects, he's a great point guard. And they have some other nice young talents as well. And so, I don't think they're going to be bad, but all we have to do is be better. If, the Spurs kind of control our own destiny here, right? And if we are just a good team, we will get picks that could be in the lottery, maybe even late lottery. We don't know. Picks can jump up. We saw it this year. You never know what can happen. And again, especially if this does jump up, or even on lottery night, you can trade your pick away, right? There's so many unbelievable assets here, but when we're talking about assets to trade, Keenan, like you said, we have to move salary as well. We have to move players, because we don't have enough room long-term for all of these guys. And we talked earlier about some chats, and I promised we'd get back to it, and we did. Guys like Keldon Johnson and Devin Vassell. Now, look, Sochan might be part of this conversation as well, but I think Keldon and Vassell are the most obvious guys, because we know Vassell's making $27 million, and we know Keldon Johnson's making $17.5 for at least a couple of years, and so Sochan is a little more up in the air with his money. We don't know that yet. He's doing extension. So, Vassell and Keldon Johnson, right, in a position where, small forward is important to us long-term, but we can fill that hole. Harrison Barnes, I think maybe, we can't really move both necessarily anytime soon, but if Carter Bryant especially, shows that he's looking good, you can fill your backup SF later. If Carter Bryant looks like he'll even be a starting caliber, if Carter Bryant looks like he could be the 5th man who's a 3-and-D guy on a good playoff team, that's all you need him to be. That's all we need him to be at the 14th pick, right? Which does make guys like Vassell and Johnson expendable. And their contracts, Keenan, are so good for making things work, because in an NBA right now, where for the foreseeable future, the Spurs are not going to have cap space to go sign someone. It's just the reality of it, right? We'll have our MLE. We don't even have the biannual exceptions. I think we used it, right? So, there's guys, there's things we can't do. We'll have the MLE. We'll have little things like that. But we're going to have to get better through trades, like we did with the De'Aaron Fox thing. And the fact that we managed to keep so many young players, we didn't give up Castle, we didn't give up Sochan, and we have the movable contracts of Devin Vassell and Keldon Johnson, plus this asset of picks, or these assets that are the draft picks. As we move forward, even as soon as this year, I would say maybe next offseason could be a big one. But is it crazy to say that one of these two guys, Keldon Johnson, Devin Vassell, is gone by the trade deadline? Because when you look at the fact that the Spurs have Wemby on such a small contract right now, I know Fox is a big one, but to maximize these years, if we can make a trade, I'm not talking a rental, I'm not talking a guy that we're getting just for this playoff push, but if we can include a guy like Vassell or Johnson, plus maybe one or two of these picks in another deal similar to the Fox one, to bring in a guy that fits the roster long term, that can, cancel out the money of those two guys, it's not going to be easy to do, but I just see it on the horizon, because that just feels like the kind of move that this team can make, because we were smart and we kept the assets that we have.
100%. It's going to be it's going to be bringing in guys that might not be nice names, but someone who can help. It may be like Luke Kennard in a pick,
Ooh.
Gary Trent Jr., those kind of players where it's going to be but Keldon Johnson has more talent, but this guy fits the scheme and fits our team more. So that's where it's going to be interesting, and that's what's great. It's because a lot of the team players that are trading, or a lot of the teams that will be trading along these players, are teams that are looking for more talent rather than looking for pieces to win a championship and how to mold, because those are two different things, and obviously a lot of talent can work within the same. But as I said, Gary Trent Jr. would be a perfect guy who can come in and really stretch the floor, shoot well from three. And obviously, the Bucks are not in the situation, but whatever. What I'm saying by that is there are teams out there who have those kind of players. Maybe Herb Jones of the Pelicans aren't doing anything. Those kind of players who you can move off of
I love that.
and get, yes, those type of players who, okay, let's take a guy like Vassell who can go get you 20 a game, 23 a game. We need that scoring, because that will benefit their team, because they don't actually have the perimeter scoring that they were hopeful for. And we need the 3-and-D kind of guy. They already got a guy like that in Trey Murphy who can do more than 3-and-D.
I want him too.
Oh, I want him too. But we are a guy who can do more than just a 3-and-D and Trey Murphy. But we already have a Trey Murphy. So pairing him with Herb Jones works. But if we can get a Devin Vassell, that works too for us. And we have to like, that's where us having these assets on especially untradeable contracts that we can also add in with picks, especially picks that we are maybe we don't need like the 2029 first like round pick for us because we're hopeful that's going to be 26 to 30, hopefully
Yeah.
30.
Yeah.
We're hopefully like that's going to be like a pretty much almost second round draft pick. So that's where keeping these assets, being smart, not jumping at the first thing, like overpaying for Kevin Durant or doing too much in these scenarios is going to help us in the long run. I agree with you that we're not going to have the same team. We could make a move at free agency trade deadline there.
Got it.
That's the phrase I was worried about. We can make a move at the trade deadline, but at the same time, we don't have to. And that's the thing that's great about us. We don't have to. We can do kind of what we want to do.
Yeah, I love that too. And there's so many interesting narratives with this team this year, but I still find it so cool that like, well, I'm cool, just amazing that like, again, we finished that Fox trade and like we have a first round pick every year now. Like how many teams that are at least on the fringe, well, at least kind of looking like it will eventually make the playoffs pretty soon. How many teams that are ready to push into that contention window, which I think it's fair to categorize the Spurs as that right now, even before watching them play basketball this season, because it's just, it's what we've built right now. How many teams like that have all their firsts, right? Again, like OKC is a bit of an outlier, but historically, like there's so many things here. I still look at that 2030 Mavericks pick, and like, I know they have Cooper Flag, and I think they'll still be fine in 2030. I don't think they'll be bad. But all I'm looking at is picks that could be lottery picks, because lottery picks mean so much. And at the deadline, a lottery pick can land you something very important. Every single year, there are teams with great talents that they're selling off because they just want to look for the future assets. And if you can dangle a lottery pick under their nose for like a solid role player on your team, whether it's bench or maybe even a low tier starter who's making 20, 30 million, that's kind of perfect where the Spurs are right now. Someone that fits the scheme a little bit better, right? So there's so many options right now. I just absolutely love it. I'm going to go back to the chat right now because we have a lot of chat. By the way, if someone wants to be the 9,700th subscriber, hey, you can do that right now. You can say you're part of the first 10,000 because, we're going to get more than that. I guarantee you that. So excited to see what's coming this season. Every single day, we got game recaps, all the news. You'll want to stay up to date. Want to go back into the chat here. Lakers and Spurs always a rival game. Also only because, honestly, there's so many Californians that moved to San Antonio that are Laker fans. Says Silos. Silos, thank you again for that $5 donation earlier. I think that's a good point. Like, really, really interesting, too. Like San Antonio, that new arena thing, Keenan's I think people are some are maybe overreacting. I don't want to talk too much about it because I don't live in San Antonio, but like, oh man, I mean, I've been there plenty of times, but man, I don't want to talk too much about it. I think people are overreacting, saying the Spurs are going to leave. I don't think that's ever going to happen, but it's becoming a fun city, and I think people like to come there. And I think, like we talked about before, Keenan, like people are going to want to start to come here in free agency too, if not for the city, for Wemby and things like that as well.
No state income tax. It's a nice place to live. You really don't have to deal with like Chicago and Minnesota winters. like you don't have to deal with those type of winters. I understand that snow does come around those parts, but it's obviously not the same as the north. So I mean, and you're in a great market. That is a great market to market yourself and your brand. Obviously, you have Dallas right there. I know we're in San Antonio specifically, but Dallas is a great market to market yourself. Houston's a great place to market yourself. And you have to think of yourself. A lot of these players think of themselves as brands because they are brands. So, like, you can't just think of only the basketball on the court. And Texas is a great place to live outside for business ventures. So, you're right. It's a great place to come. It's a great place to live. And I think that there's going to be a lot of people who are going to want to be there. And then when you talk basketball, it's like, oh, yeah, that guy. Oh, Wemby, Harper. Oh, wait, we still have Fox. Oh, Castle. You're just asking me to come in here, play 20 minutes a game, shoot some threes, and maybe D up on the third best player on the floor. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. And that's what we're asking for. Those are the role players we're only asking. We do not need superstars. If we have to trade for them, cool, but we don't even need them. Just some role players, and you're going to see a lot of veteran minimum guys. How you saw the Warriors in 2016, 17. It's like, oh, I can go play for them and go get a chip real quick. Okay.
Yeah. Well, they had a very, very favorable cap situation too. That was
because thanks to Steph's ankle injuries.
Oh man, I still can't believe that, bro. And also, no, I don't think anyone could have predicted Draymond would have had the impact he did. I mean, like, Anyway, I'm not here to praise the Warriors, but yeah, some crazy stuff there. But you're right. I mean, when you have that high level talent, people want to come here, right? And it's going to be really, really exciting to play with Wemby. We got some other chats in here. We got DeSilos again. I love KJ's energy that he brings to the team. That's why I also have his framed signed jersey. And you know what? Big body, big body. I mean, Keldon Johnson, like, I respect that. I like Keldon Johnson a lot. I liked him more a couple of years ago than I do now in terms of fit on this team. But, like, the dude is just vibe central. He is always smiling. He's always celebrating on the bench. This stuff does matter, right? Having your friends, having positive forces in the locker room. And again, we don't really know what goes on behind closed doors a lot of the time. But Keldon just seems like such a good figure to have in San Antonio. You know, when it comes to these guys, it's going to be hard to make decisions, Keenan, but at the end of the day, it is a business, as unfortunate as it is, and I think people understand that San Antonio has treated this very much as a business for a long time, so I like Keldon. I do, look, if he can get back to, like, if he can brush up on, like, 38% from three, that's kind of the thing right now, though. If our guys can't fill that niche that the Spurs need, we kind of got our starters for the future kind of right there in front of them, so if you can't fill a niche this team needs, I don't think we'll be that afraid to just trade you and fill that role with someone else.
We are now in the business of filling out the roster and making it a championship roster. We have championship stars. We have championship futures. We now need championship role players, and you need to show you that you can be that. Wemby, we know he's a championship level player. De'Aaron Fox, we very much believe with him winning clutch player of the year. We very much believe with the way that he played in the playoffs, the way he's played, that he can be the second to third best player on a championship level team. We believe that Castle has the ability to at least be a super great defender who has a lot of high upside offensively on a championship level team. Basically, those kind of players. So now it's what can Vassell do for you? What can Johnson do for you? We know what Olynyk can do as a veteran. And so, like, that's where this team's going to be interesting. I'm excited for it. And that's what we're going to see. We're going to build it out. That depth chart there, we have the starting five.
Yep, right now we do.
We have the starting five. We really have a legitimate 7 strong deep. Yeah. So, like, we have the starting 5 there, count hard, and really 8. Barnes, Harper, and Cornette off the bench. Obviously, Olynyk's a nice rotational piece, but that's a solid, just firm 8. Like the 9th and the 10th, Champagny, Johnson, and then Vassell, depending on what.
Keldon Johnson was a 20-point per game scorer. Like I know we're a few years removed from that, but that's crazy that this team, the way it's built right now, the former 20-point a game scorer, albeit on a not so great Spurs team, is considered not part of our solid 7 or 8. And I think that's a good thing, a good problem to have, you know?
We don't have bad problems right now. No. There's no contracts we look at and we're like, oh my goodness gracious, we got to get rid of that. We don't look at any players like these guys just absolutely suck and no one will take them. We're just in a position right now where we have a lot of assets and it's basically figuring out which assets are going to work best with the people who are keeping the cornerstones. Mm-hmm. And then just, again, how good is Harper going to be?
Oh, I mean, well, we talked about this. Like, if he's good, if he can play off ball, dude, like, we talked about this before. You brought this up. Like, it's not crazy to have a Fox Harper Castle 1 through 3 in, like, a year or two, you know? Like, that's the thing, too. Like, there's so many, like, random factors that could come to play with this Spurs team that just makes it, again, all the more exciting.
You're trying to tell me if Harper comes second or even wins a Rookie of the Year, Rookie of the Year would be hard just because Flagg's going to play so many minutes, and he probably won't. But like, it's a numbers game more so. But if he is an all-rookie first team, and we see like that's the potential. If we come in next year, we sign Sochan to a nice deal, and we trot out Fox, Harper, Castle, Sochan, and Wemby with Cornette, Olynyk. Maybe we can keep Barnes or Bryant. If we're coming up with those 8 next year. Fill in the next 5, and you're talking me into a top 4 team in a championship. Oh. Like you already talked me into it.
Yeah,
like
I mean, I don't even feel like I need to. Like, you don't need to talk me into this. This team, top 4 team championship, like, again, like that. It's that itch that needs to be scratched. Like a lot of people are saying, because we don't know until we watch the start of the season. But like, what is Wemby gonna do? Like, I just 24-11, 4-4 with over a steal a game. Shooting 9 threes a game at 35% as a 7'3" center. Like, where, and this is the start of his career. This is a shortened season. He very well could put up like 27 or 28 a game with like 12 or 13 rebounds, 4 assists, 4 blocks, and a steal. Like, we're talking all-time level seasons that could be coming at 22 years old. Like, he's not going to regress. Like, yeah, there's going to be some shots taken by Fox, which is like, yeah, maybe he'll take fewer shots. But, like, Wemby's impact is already, like, one of the best in the league. Not to mention he's going to win DPOY if he's healthy for a full year. That, like, he's going to do that every single year unless there's voter fatigue. Like, how far can he alone take you, right? Like, we know basketball is an individually driven sport. This dude, like, you put this on any other team, like, I don't know. I know it's just like, oh, look how good Victor Wembanyama is all I'm saying right now. But, like, dude, this could be, this season might be more successful than we ever thought.
There's a difference when you have that guy in the history of the NBA. When you have, we saw LeBron's team when Daniel Gibson and Larry Hughes, when those Drew Gooden, and we saw him take teams to 50 and 60 wins. We saw Anthony Edwards even like not having the greatest, like Anthony Edwards elevating. Luka Doncic a few years back, it was him and a lot of role players. Shout out to Jalen Brunson making himself into something, but he wasn't that Jalen Brunson at that time getting to the Western Conference Finals. Steph in 22, it was Steph, Wiggins, and a few others. That's a championship team. Go through the history of the NBA, and when you have that guy, then you can go up. Giannis, we obviously saw what he was able to do. Obviously, Drew Holiday, Chris Middleton, they're very good role players. They're all-stars, but they're not great guys. We see what Jokic does. The history of the NBA, when you have that level of a guy, you win. Yeah. And that's just what we have. And we know what happened when we draft Tim Duncan. 21-11 in his first year. We saw what Wemby put about 21-11. Like, we know what happens when you get that guy. Obviously, we had the Admiral, but like we get that guy. Okay.
Yeah.
There's 5 championships. There's 6 appearances. There's 50 wins every year.
Might get more with Wemby. Like Wemby, like, again, I feel like maybe I go too far sometimes, but I'm like, it's totally possible Wemby has a better career than Tim Duncan, and I don't think it's likely.
That's like, and that's like so insane to think, but like Wemby has top 1 all-time potential. You don't say people, and that's insane. Best prospect, him and LeBron are like here, and we obviously saw what LeBron did with his career. Like LeBron's still playing at 40 and killing it. So like, we know that's just the thing about it. And the last thing I'm going to say on this whole thing is players like Wemby get players like Giannis talking. That's all I'm going to say.
You already got him talking. That's the thing.
Already got him talking. And literally, it comes down to the fact where you can just be like, okay, Giannis, last 3 years of your career, you're fine to being the second best player on a championship team. We've got the players to move off of you, and that's why keeping assets. I'm just saying. And there's going to be way more people in the world. We already saw what AJ DeBonta said. There's already situations where everyone's like, yeah, I want to play with that guy. Why wouldn't they want to play with that? It's that guy.
It's that guy.
Come on.
He is
Why
that
wouldn't
guy.
You want to play with him?
Like,
he is that guy. Why wouldn't you want to play with him?
Like, oh, there's that guy. That sounds kind of lame, actually. But like, he is the guy.
He's just him. Like, he's just him. So that's all that matters.
He's just Wemby.
That's all.
Right, and like, he's one of those guys. Just those one name things, you know. And I love that. Like, anyway, I'm so excited for it. But you know what? I think the fans are excited too. I see CeeLo said it's been a while that I've seen a Spurs player bring so much energy like KJ. People are loving Keldon Johnson in the chat today. Shout out to Coach Pop El Jefe. Hopefully they change our airport name on behalf of him. I would love that. Yeah, that would be really, really cool. And again, people are saying lame about the Nets, the 1 p.m. game, but hey, you know what? We got, I think, 22 nationally televised games this year, Keenan. We're in good shape compared to where we were just a couple of years ago. So, look, this has been... What's that?
We're only going to continue to go up.
Oh, yeah. I mean, again, that guy is... Wait, why?
When Steph and LeBron are out of the league, who is the face? We know who it is.
Yeah.
We know who it's going to be.
They were wondering. But they got it. We know who it is.
You know who it is.
Yeah.
It's easy.
This international, bring the international part of the game. It's unbelievable. But look, this was an unbelievable live stream. Thank you so much to everyone for tuning in. This was, love this. I mean, thank you to all of you who tune in every single day. Almost pushing 9,700 subscribers. You guys have liked like crazy. We're 2 likes away from 50. So if you don't mind, if you haven't already, just click the like button one time. Hey, you see the number go up. You see the thumbs up pop up, and it helps us a ton. Keenan, any final words to these wonderful fans tuning in on Thursday? By the way, folks, mark this in your calendar. Every Thursday, 6:30 p.m. Central, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, we'll be live to talk San Antonio Spurs. I know you guys love it. We love talking to you. Any final thoughts, Keenan?
No, just enjoy the season. Have fun. We're going to be here talking about whatever. We're going to be posting daily because that's what we do, but we can't do this without you guys. So, Josh, myself, Brian, everybody else here at Spurs Digest and Digest Media as a whole appreciates everybody here.
Thank you all for joining. If you enjoyed, like I said, leave a like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. We're pushing 10,000. We'd love to hit that before the season. You guys have been supporting us like crazy. Appreciate every single one of you that showed up, even just to watch, even if you don't like or chat or anything like that. We appreciate you tuning in every single day. I'm Josh Gosse, my co-host, Keenan Warner. We'll catch you all in the next one.